Hello everyone, my name's Craig. I live in Sunshine Coast, Queensland, and by way of background, I've just turned 60, and in the last 3 years my spouse and I have been working towards a retirement home in Queensland. So I moved up there 2.5 years ago while he was still working, and I've been renovating a house, setting up the property, putting a pool in, and getting ready for us to retire and start to do the things we planned. But in 2020, several things changed. Firstly, COVID hit, so I wasn't able to travel down so easily. So I've hardly seen family and Chris in that time, as well as his health started to deteriorate very badly. And at this point, we are going down the path of a disability. He can't work, and we're facing a whole bunch of changes. My biggest obstacle at this point in my life is coping with these changes and the amount of changes, the emotional impacts of these changes, making sure that I'm there to support my spouse, emotionally, physically, practically. But in that time, I'm finding it really quite hard to maintain connections with people, family, old friends, trying to build new friendships in a new area. And also I've had trouble letting go of people who are just, I suppose, I put a lot of effort into, but they're not really there for me. And sometimes they're quite destructive. So we're doing okay. I'm very grateful for having quality people in our lives. I'm learning to embrace change, look forward to new things rather than grieving old things, and really growing as a man.
For me, one of the biggest obstacles I see of being a man and being a middle-aged, straight, white man is that there's no causes in my honour. There's no international men's days, and I feel like if I voice this opinion, I get told to check my privilege.
My biggest struggle as a man right now is juggling the identity that a man should be, or what I want to be. Right. On one hand, you've got society still expects a man to have the old school masculine norms, like the provider, the protector, the builder. And then on the other hand, now they're getting told it's okay to speak, it's okay to cry, it's okay to show emotion. But you can't. It's like the balance there between the two is hard. So it's finding a healthy balance between the two. It's probably my biggest struggle right now. Getting there, but it's still unknown, like the world's ever changing, and so is this situation. It's not what anyone's experienced before, and every man has to decide themselves what they want to be.
A question from Joey from Sticker Men's Business. What is the most challenging thing to me as a man at the moment is probably this whole toxic masculinity issue. I believe this balance has gone so far in the wrong direction, from being from a women's lib side to now toxic masculinity. I believe there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's human toxicity completely. There's toxic behaviours by men and women. We will have to learn to cope with our own actions and try to be the best we can be.
Hi, the biggest obstacle I face as a man is within the workforce ageism, so the value that is placed on youth versus experience.
Please hang up and try again.
Hi again, Craig here. So on the topic of change regarding men and their image, I personally see there as being a great imbalance in our current society in the image of men. On one hand, most of the men I know, and I've known in my entire life, are loving, compassionate. They strive to be inspired leaders and caring people. We've gone through a situation in my lifetime of reevaluating what strength means as a man. and that's in a positive way. So we desire to be better sons and fathers and elders in our community, which is kind of the phase that I'm going through in my life. I've always been a very strong ally, as most men I know are, to women. We want to make sure that they're valued, they're supported, that all the imbalances are dealt with. But in the process, the narrative has become skewed by our worst cases of men. There's plenty of them out there, but I feel a great sense of shame as a man, and I think many do, by these people. But it also makes us easy targets. In terms of change, I really believe we need a reset to the image and the balance of what men are really about. And I think we really need to ask our loving allies, the women, to help support us. As men, we celebrate and embrace change, and we've got to think about our futures as men. I've read some great authors like Steve Biddulph, and I've been involved in the men's movement for most of my adult life, both in the church and don't hate me, and in my time of coming out. So I think what men need to be considering is really embracing some of these movements, where we evaluate, we reimagine where we're going, and we need to get out there with a real message of what manhood is about in our generation and our community.
The change I'd like to see happen is some mainstream support for men. We're humans and we need support and recognition just like everyone else.
What I'd like to see happen in this world with regarding men is for them to have clarity about themselves, about who they want to be, and stop listening and worrying about every other external thing. It's got nothing to do with outside, it's all what comes within. And so many men out there are looking for external things, for validation, to know that they're on the right path, society expectations, female expectations, whatever it is, right? They need to find their own definition and have their own clarity and just live their own life and not worry about all this other stuff that's going on. That's the biggest thing for me, I think, is what I would like to see change in terms of the modern world and how men can adapt to it.
Change I would like to see regarding men and their image is basically we have to try and encourage men to become more vulnerable, to actually speak from our heart, speak with emotion. At the end of the day, we're all humans and we've got feelings, and we've got to be able to express those feelings rather than bottle them up and bury them inside ourselves. But we can only start from our own self by actually showing an example, which is what I'm doing. Is being vulnerable from yourself, and hopefully other men will see the benefit of it and help with the future of mankind.